Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to my review of this knife. This is the Kizer Feist W, designed by Justin Lundquist. It's a titanium frame lock. It's got a front flipper. You see the texture there. All right, now that's my offhand because I'm holding my camera with my dominant hand, but that's S35VN steel. Yeah, very nice. Now the blade length on this about 2.875 inches. Now later in the video I will go over the pros and cons of that type of flipper, the front flipper. I have seen people use those to open a knife as quickly as you could with an index flipper. All right, see, I'm getting a little more smooth, even with my offhand, a little smoother. Right, so that does have pros and cons, but it's not as bad as you might assume. Here is a size and shape comparison with other Kizer folding knives. Now, this is by far the lightest and the smallest and the shortest blade length of all the Kizers that I own. Right, this is what is sometimes called a gentleman's folder. That's a folder that you would use for formal occasions like weddings, funerals, professional events, you know, when you need something that's very easy to carry and unobtrusive. Now me, for formal occasions, I always carry a battle axe because then I don't have to stand in line and I get the best seating. No, just kidding. But anyway, yeah, the gentleman's folder, interesting concept. There's a close-up flyby. You can see the details. Yes, I have used this. There's usage footage coming up. Yeah, about gentleman's folders, it's not that I'm addicted to buying knives. It's that I just have a huge amount of respect for weddings, and so I just have to keep buying gentleman's folders. It's not an addiction at all. No, I'm just kidding. I actually did not purchase this knife, all right? Kizer sent it to me. They wanted my opinion. I'll be happy to give it, and I tested it out as well. All right, some sharpness. Listen to the paper. Now I did touch up this edge a little bit. It came slightly rough. I just touched it up for about 3 minutes. Right, so yeah, it required a slight touch up to do what you just saw. Alright, some harder usage. I sped this footage up because you get the idea. Right, putting the knife through its paces. Now this is by no means a box cutter because if it were, it'd be the most expensive box cutter you ever had, right? The price tag on this is around $150, right? But even though, you know, the chances you're going to do hundreds and hundreds of cuts through thick cardboard with this are very low, nonetheless, if you are spending that money on this, it should make you feel good that if you had to, if you wanted to, you could use it like this. You could use it this hard. Most people, you know, gentleman's folder, it's for light, mundane tasks. The weight on this knife is under 3 ounces, so we're talking really easy to carry. And because of that front flipper, it's not like an index flipper where there's something actually sticking out at a right angle to the rest of the knife. So it's a very streamlined knife. There's no extra texture on the handle, right? Purposely, it's meant to be smooth. It's meant to be very comfortable, slip in and out of a pocket. Right, not tear up your pocket, just a very streamlined design. Now the front flipper design has a lot of hidden benefits. I mean, what is a front flipper really? It's just that very pronounced corner of the partial tang that's in front when the blade is closed and a little texture added to that. So the extra weight and bulk and mass that a front flipper adds to a knife, it's virtually nothing. It's virtually negligible. And yeah, the front flipper, you know, it's not what you would want for like a weapon necessarily, but for a gentleman's folder, it's perfectly appropriate. You see all the work it did, more cuts into cardboard, more cutting than you would likely do with this knife in a whole year of like normal use, right? How many packages would you open with this knife in a year? How many boxes would you cut up? Probably not that many, but that's why I like that test because, you know, a year from now, there'll be so many new knives. I have to put a lot of use on this quickly. More use, this is just whittling. I'm going to put a point on that piece of firewood. That's not soft wood, that's just gnarly firewood. All right, so just more use. Oh, by the way, this comes with different tip designs. This is what they're calling the reverse tanto. But they also have a drop point model if you don't like the reverse tanto tip, right? So this is the Feist W. Right, now let's talk about Justin Lundquist. I did some research into him, the designer of this knife. He's very legit, very well respected. I was checking out his Instagram the other day, and you can find his Insta. Just type in his name in Insta, you will find it. He has a lot of great work on his Instagram. He has several knife designs currently in production, and a lot of people want to purchase one of his custom knives. He's legit. If you haven't heard of him, it's probably because you don't collect customs, but yeah, definitely he's a knife maker in good standing. A lot of people who buy this are going to be people who wish they could purchase one of his customs, but maybe you can't spend that much at the moment. A well-made production knife with premium materials, next best thing, right? So a lot of sales are going to be because of that and his name. So basically this knife is a solid concept, solid design, solid designer, and nice materials. But what are some potential drawbacks? I got to do a fair and balanced review. Well, the blade shape, I mean, it's a very narrow blade. Right now, for some types of cutting that matters, for others it does not matter. If you wanted to, I don't know, chop up some onions in your kitchen, I would prefer a wider blade, right? So for that type of cutting, wider blade. But if I was going to, let's say, cut a piece of paracord down to a certain length, does the width of the blade matter for that type of cut? No, this would be just as good as a wider blade for, let's say, sizing a piece of paracord or many other things. And for things like whittling small details, the more narrow blade with that tip forward of the center line is actually better than a wider blade, right? So depending on what types of cutting, that blade will be better or worse. The front flipper, I mentioned its benefits, but of course it does have drawbacks as well. The front flipper is just not what most people are used to. So just basic unfamiliarity, right? And it is a little harder to master, and basically if you're looking for a ninja knife that you need to flip out really quickly, well then don't buy a front flipper knife, right? But that's probably not what you need if you're buying a small knife anyway. So yeah, there might be people who don't buy it because of the front flipper. All right, what else? Just the price tag. Your budget is your business, but not a budget knife. It's not the most expensive either, so it's kind of intermediate. But yeah, those are the main drawbacks I could think of. I mean, I'm trying to think hard but it's really a pretty good design. Like I said, the edge was a bit rough when I got it, but with a 3-minute touch-up, which is not much at all. I mean, 3 minutes, that's nothing. With a 3-minute touch-up, it was screaming sharp, and yours probably will be screaming sharp already because all the other Kizers I got have been. So yeah, overall, pretty nice design. I'll admit, I like larger blades just because, they're crazy, sexy, cool. They're just, who doesn't like a gigantic battle axe, even if it's not the most practical thing day to day? So yeah, I mean, I think larger blades can be kind of more fun. You can hack something up, but that's not the fault of this knife. That doesn't mean that small, easy-to-carry knives are bad by any means, right? There's always a place for something small and easy to carry. So if you need a gentleman's folder, yeah, I'd recommend this. You might want to go with the drop point. That's kind of personal preference, but I'll include links. Check out all the Tangram and Kizer links. They do support the channel. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this review. This has been We All Juggle Knives. I'm out.